Hal Ackerman, the co-chair of the screenwriting division at UCLA and the author of Write Screenplays That Sell, The Ackerman Way. Hal, thanks for being with us today.
Glad to be here.
What's some of the advice that you give to writers in your book?
Well, I've been teaching at UCLA for about 20 years. I've been co-chair of the screenwriting area now for a couple of years, and I'm really proud that a lot of the writers that I've had have had great careers. Even some of them starting right in school. About 6 or 7 scripts that have been written in my class have become films. Walk on the Moon by Pamela Gray was one, and Allison Anders was in my very first class that I ever taught, and she wrote the script that became Gas Food Lodging, and quite a few others. And a lot of writers, right after they've come out of my classes, have done very well. Sasha Gervasi wrote The Terminal, and Nick Griffin wrote Matchstick Men, and so I'm very proud of the success of those folks. But among the things are to write something that nobody in the universe can write. Not to try to follow any trends. Once a trend is out there, the next 8 films that are on that trend are already in the making. So it's pointless for you as a writer to try to hook onto that. More important is to write something that nobody else could write, something that comes from your life. That movie might not necessarily be made, but it will tell the people who are reading your script who you are as a writer, and that's the most important thing. The second most important thing that I can tell a writer, to make a writing schedule, and when they write it, to make it fit their own life. If you're a single parent with 3 children, you're not going to be able to write from 9 to 5 every day, but you might be able to write from 10 a.m. to 3 a.m. 10 p.m. to 3 a.m. So number one, make a writing schedule that fits your life, and number 2, the most important thing is to stick to it. Because whatever you don't write will not get written, and that's just the truth of it all. Most writers fail because they don't put the tush on the cush.
You've done talks and seminars called Becoming a Living Writer. Is this opposed to being a dead writer?
We all know how to physically write, so sometimes we have the temerity to think that that's all we need to do, that we need to be able to type or to write to become writers. But there really is a respect that needs to be given, I think, to the craft of writing. I have these exercises that I call going to the writer's gym, to work on different writers' muscle groups, and to make us have access to the parts of us that we need, the subconscious. And we are, as civilized people, taught to conceal our emotions, to skate through the day. Someone says, "How are you?" The answer is fine. And that's fine for a civilian. But for writers, we have to be able to access the other parts of us, the parts that are scarier to do. And so in becoming a living writer, it really means letting ourselves become alive in the places that we as civilians either kill or mute. And these exercises are really ways of getting into the subconscious, and trusting the parts of us that really make us artists.
What are common mistakes that most writers make?
So one of the mistakes is of just trying to make something too perfect, because we want to avoid criticism, we want to avoid humiliation. Putting ourselves out there, as writers do, as any artist does, it's frightening. So the ways in which we try to protect ourselves is one of the mistakes that writers make. And another, I think, on the other end, the mistake that writers make is showing things too quickly. So there's that fine balance that we have to strike between overworking it, trying to make it too perfect, as somebody once said, sharpening it to the inevitable point of dullness, or being too impulsive, showing something too early, too quickly, before it's really ready.
Thanks so much again for joining us today.
It's been my great pleasure. Thank you.
With Hal Ackerman's Write Screenplays That Sell, every aspiring writer gets their own teacher in residence, and every professional writer gets a lifetime collaborator. So pick up your copy today.